I think most people will know that the Homes and Communities Agency has only been in existence since the 1st of December. It's been an interesting period, obviously. We've brought together the powers of English Partnerships, the Housing Corporation and various programmes that were run from the centre from CLG, like Places for Change and Gypsies and Travellers and that sort of thing. And the idea was to combine them and to use them more flexibly in the longer term and to focus much more on place, and by using those funding streams in a more flexible manner to bring better outcomes for places. But obviously, when we came into being, we've got the downturn in the market and we needed to respond to that quite quickly. So we have been doing things like having tailored conversations with our partners and looking at the ways that we can assist them by flexing grant rates, by looking at switches from sale to rent, and at the ways that they can continue to develop and keep the momentum going. And that's actually been quite important, that we want to keep the momentum going from a development point of view. Linked to that, we've been trying to make things easier for developers by running things like a clearinghouse programme, where developers with larger programmes can put opportunities through to us so that we can assess them on a more national basis. And we've supported housing associations buying in standing stock from developers where it's been appropriate in social housing terms to actually do that. And we've actually had quite a successful year. We've delivered on most of our targets at the end of the financial year in what was some very difficult circumstances, and I think all of our partners have responded extremely well to that. Where we're going now is that we've got some new initiatives coming out of the budget, and we're looking to take those forward. So there's 400 million, which is about unblocking some of the sites that are stalled at the moment. And that's going to be something that we can use rather more flexibly than our current funding streams. And we can look at gap funding, some infrastructure funding, as well as extending Home by Direct and affordable housing. There's also 100 million which will be available for local authorities, and that's going to enable local authorities who want to develop directly to do that. And we're looking at sort of high energy efficiency in some of those schemes. We're looking at local authorities putting their land in and maybe accessing some sites that we wouldn't otherwise do.
And of the 400 million, is there a ring-fenced pot for the Northwest, or is it on an open sort of case-by-case basis that you apply for that?
It's being nationally held, the budget, and we're opening an expressions of interest stage, and the closing date for that will be the 8th of June. So we'll be expecting people to bid into us essentially, and then we'll be looking at what we've got against various criteria and selecting the schemes we want to move forward with. Early delivery is going to be one of the key criteria, because obviously it is about keeping things going and unblocking sites.
Tell us a bit more about the clearinghouse as you described it. How does that work? What are the results of that?
We use that as a way of getting feedback as quickly as possible to developers that were putting to us a large package of schemes across the country. So in effect we were saying to them, if you put in proposals to us in a certain format and give us enough information, we'll coordinate the responses from all the individual regions, because decisions about what goes into the programme are made at a regional level. And so it was a way of coordinating that feedback and being able to give that feedback to developers in a much quicker timescale than perhaps might otherwise have happened. And we have had quite a number of schemes that we've funded come through the clearinghouse in the Northwest.
Can you give us some examples?
Well, we have done some work with Bovis. We've done some work with a combination of Bloors working with Sanctuary Housing Association. We have done a few schemes for Bellways and also some for Persimmon.
Very good. And Dave, on the Housing Association side, how have you found the transition to life under the HCA regime? Has it been good, bad, indifferent?
On the whole, it's been extremely good, I'm pleased to say. As Dan said, given the circumstances we find ourselves in, the HCA have proven to be remarkably responsive and flexible in terms of moving schemes forward. In terms of the clearinghouse, we've been involved in some of the transactions with Bellway. Dan referred to, we've also done significant transactions with Countryside, where we've been able to both take standing stock and also move log-jammed stock where they weren't prepared to proceed onto site. And some of those have already completed and some are on site due to complete this autumn. The other side of the HCA is in terms of the flexibility of tenure, where we've had a number of schemes which were for sale, either shared ownership or outright, and in the markets no one was confident of taking those forward. with the support of the HCA and local authority, a lot of those schemes have been converted to rent, and again that is putting work through developers to keep the process moving forward. I think a slight note of concern on that as well. It's good and helpful. They were originally allocated as sale schemes for a strategic reason. I don't think we can lose sight of the need to rebalance tenure in the longer term, but as a way of keeping the industry moving forward, I think it's a very sensible and pragmatic approach at the moment. I'm not quite sure when we start thinking more strategically again.